Hey you guys, how you doing? Welcome to Bones Collector. I want to take the time today to talk about a couple of games that I feel need to be talked about. And one of them is the White Castle. And the White Castle is by DeVere Games, and the designers are Shay S. and Isra C. And they also did the Red Cathedral, another game that we love and is part of this video. But the reason why I want to talk about it, whoa, we'll lose our power. But the reason why I want to talk about it is a fabulous game for a very inexpensive price. We just looked it up. We paid $32 for it 2 years ago when it came out. And you can get it right now for $35.99 at Miniature Market and Card House. I have nothing to do with those game houses, but I just looked it up before I started the video. And it's well worth it for the simple reason it's a great game. The publishing is outstanding. It's in a tiny box. There's so much to love about that. Even the Red Cathedral is in a tiny box like this, and the publishing is just jaw-dropping on this. So you don't have to pay a lot of money to get a great game, and that's why I'm making this video. If you do not have this game or have not played this game, you need to get it played, and you'll fall in love with it if you like this type of Euro gaming style. And the hook here in this game is you've only got 9 turns. You see these bridges over here. There's a specific color for the color of dice that you're going to use in the game. Orange, black, and white. You're going to roll 3 dice, put them on the bridge, and you're going to take turns selecting dice off these bridges. Now, there's only 3 rounds, so every round you're selecting 3 dice. So you're going to take turns selecting dice off these bridges. You have to select off the ends of the bridges, and once you take one from this end over up at the edge of the board, it has an icon over here for the lantern action. It's for the lantern action. So if you take one from this side of the bridge, you're going to take the lantern action, which gives you benefits at the bottom of your domain area, your player area over here. Cards that you've laid out in a row, you're going to be able to give yourself those benefits, which is really nice. But most of the time during the game, it seems like those dice are just low. So they go low to high. So if you take a dice from either end, then the die in the middle is going to go to that end to fill up that space. So you're going to take 3 dice during the round. You're only going to have a total of 9 turns during the game. So the game moves rather quickly. And at the beginning of the game, you're going to feel very poor. Because you have very little. You have some beginning resources you're going to get on a game card that you start the game out with. It's going to give you your starting resources. So you're going to have a little something at the beginning. And then for the first round, you're going to be building up and getting a reserve of things that you're going to parlay and combo into other things as the game goes on. And by the time the 3rd round gets here and you're going to use your last 3 dice, of course, you're going to do some big combos. And that's what this game's all about. You want to build from nothing to some amazing combos by the 3rd round in 9 turns. If you've played Zapotec, it's very similar to Zapotec. Zapotec, you only have 5 turns to make your thing happen. Here you have 9 turns. It's just a wonderful, fun game to play because it's so compacted. This board is smallish, and it's going to be laid out randomly with cards and yard tiles, they're called, and those are going to be different every game. So every game is going to play differently. It has a drastic change in how the game is played because whatever's on these cards is the only things you can get during those 9 turns until somebody takes these cards, which you can do if you work the castle, and put them over in your play area, and that's one of the things you're going to do. But my point is, this game is really, really good for $35.99. There are some Euro games out there that are over $100 that aren't as good as White Castle, and they take up a whole lot more shelf space than this little game. And they won't be published as nice. DeVere knocked it out of the park with this. All these wood components. This is a round tracker. Nice cardboard stock for the money and the daimios. Your birds are wood. I mean, everything in it is just wonderfully done.
You have to build the little bridges.
Yes, and you do have to punch these out and build them, these little bridges, but they're very sturdy. I mean, these are pretty nice. And then everything fits in the box very tightly.
But it goes in.
I mean, it's packed, but it goes in. But the game is absolutely a ton of fun. It's a game that once you play it, okay, and I'm not going to lie to you, you're going to play it 5-6 times. In order to understand the difference in this game and how different each game is because of how randomly the cards and these yard tiles come out. You know, it reminds me of Trois a lot in this way. In Trois, there's like 9 cards, I think, on the board. Every game, you lay those out randomly, and the game's completely different. It's an incredible game, Trois. And
This is the same
White
thing.
Castle, same way. Every game is going to be different. You're not going to do as well, or you can do as well in every game. I think you can do good in every game. You just have to change the structure of your strategy, because not everything is going to be available in the order that it's available the game before. So you have to do some thinking and kind of look at the game board and do some strategic planning as you start the game. But wow, what a fabulous game, and just so much fun. I feel like I need to talk about this game. This is a game Laura and I will keep for, you know, as long as we're playing board games, because we can sit down, set this up and play it. It takes us an hour. You know, but there's some thinking in 9 turns. And then once the third round gets here, you are doing some big combos, so you got to make sure you're not missing anything. So it takes a little bit of, your turn's going to take a while. You know, actually, Lori was taking her turn, and I got up and got my tea and was drinking it.
And I still did terrible. I didn't do very well this game. I did way better the game before.
Yeah, you did. Lori won the game before, and then I managed to pull this one. I'm sure cheated. But
No, you and I just couldn't get anything going this turn.
But so much fun, you guys. Yeah, there's just so much going on in this game. It's worth it. The rule book is fabulous. You will know how to play the game. I will say this, Zapotek's rule book isn't the best. Translation wasn't as good. But here, it's very nicely done. You read this rule book, you'll know how to play with the White Castle. I'm a fan of these designers. After Red Cathedral, I became a fan. I love Red Cathedral. If you haven't played that, it's another one. A box this size, published very nicely. That's part of this video, so I won't even talk about it. But yeah, this is kind of a Bones Collector Red Alert. I feel like I want to tell you guys about good games that exist out here in the board gaming hobby that's not going to cost you an arm and a leg. And there's so many board games out there right now. The prices are going up and up. And I mean, Kickstarter and GameFound and their prices, I mean, just phenomenal how high those prices are to get a game for what? Is it going to be better than White Castle? I doubt it. I doubt it very much. And I never want to buy another game off crowdfunding unless I know the game. You know, if they were running a new print run of White Castle and doing something different, maybe something like that. But for a game that I've never played, a new game, I just think, folks, you're taking a big chance. And here you can spend less than $40 with taxes and get yourself a very, very fun game that you will play the rest of your life. I guarantee it. It's outstanding. Of course, I'm going to tell you, I've never played this at 3 and 4. Is it play 3 or 4?
Yeah.
Yeah, play 3 and 4. And I don't know if I would.
And there's an expansion for it, too, that we don't know anything about.
Yeah. In the 3 and 4 player games, you can actually stack dice on these spaces in the castle, but in a 2-player game, we couldn't do that. So spaces are going to disappear. And if you want a farmer action, and there's only one farmer action on one of these cards, you want to get there first. There is another place over here on the board where you can get those things, but you get nothing for it.
Yeah.
I mean, you know,
and you have to use a 5 die. So
you have to use a 5. So
that could cost you.
yeah, anytime you place a die on here, it's got a printed die on the board. If you put a bigger die on there than what's printed, you get the difference in money. If you put a smaller die on there that's printed, you got to pay that much in money. So just some really cool mechanisms in this game. That's it. I'm not going to go in depth about this game. I swear, this is an outstanding game, and you can take that to the bank. And again, less than $40 with tax from DeVere Games, and the designers are Shay S. and Isra C. An outstanding little Euro game. Just pretty to look at on the table. Just I don't know. I can't say enough good things about it. We're going to keep it, right? I mean, this is just one of those games, again, it takes up no space. I love the way DeVere published both these games. So that's the White Castle. Go get it. You'll be glad you did. Okay, hey everybody, welcome to Bones Collector, and this is part of the White Castle video. But this is a game called Red Cathedral, and it's by the same designers that did White Castle. And their names are Shay S. and Isra C. Now, both of these games that I'm talking about, I'm doing this as an informational type of situation because this game's 5 years old, came out in 2020, the White Castle came out in 23. but they're spectacular little Euro games. And I mean, these boxes are so tiny, and that's one reason why I'm telling you, you should go out and get these games. And if you have a huge board game library, of course, you're not looking for more games. But in the case of Lori and I, I'm going to be 70 in November, and I'm going to hang on to these games and play these as long as I have my mind. So the reasons I'm going to keep these games for so long, I'm going to give you right now. One of which is the box size. But the most important thing about both of these games, the White Castle and the Red Cathedral, is the play, the game design. She's good. Is the game design. It's outstanding. And by that I mean these are both Euro games, the White Castle and Red Cathedral, and they play flawlessly. And they're so interesting. And the variability in the games, both of them, is fantastic because it depends on how these games are set up as to how they're going to play. And they're going to play differently every time because you get a variety of things that you're going to put out each game. These influence cards for each quadrant here on the board are going to be different, and they give you different actions. There's 2 on each card. You only get to choose 1 if you go to that quadrant. So you're trying to weave that into everything you're trying to do to build this cathedral. And this cathedral is going to be different every game. You get a small stack of cards. You're going to draw one randomly, and it's going to tell you the shape of the cathedral that you're building. So you're going to put the X number of cards out here, depending on the size of the cathedral, and each one of these cards has a different variety of resources that you're going to have to put on them to build that part of the cathedral. Not to mention, there's a workshop tile on every one of these when you begin the game, and those are laid out differently. So the game changes every time you play it, and that's so cool. And the same thing in White Castle. It's such a variable thing. Now here in the Red Cathedral, let's talk about this. You're going to work this rondelle with dice. And in this rondelle, there's 4 quadrants, 8 sections on this board. So you're going to have to be interested in the value that's on the dice, because when you look at that die, for instance, this green die has a 3 value, and it can be in any one of these 3 spaces in this section, and you're going to move that. You're going to say, well, I want to use that green die, and I want to move it 3 spaces, 1, 2, 3. And that's all you can move it is 3 spaces. And so you're not going to move it 3 of the little spaces, you're moving it 3 sections, 1, 2, 3. I can't count.
No, you started. Yeah.
Okay, so 1, 2, 3. And in that section, it's going to have a token, a resource token. If you take the market action, you're going to take the resources that are on that token. Now, here's the kind of cool thing about this rondelle. Just one of the cool things is if you manage to put this, maybe these dice were already here, this die was here, and you thought, oh, this is already 2 dice in that section. So if you move 1, 2, 3 and make it 3 dice in that section, and that's the max that can be there, you're going to take 6 of whatever's on this token, because it's 3 times whatever's on that token. Just happens to be 2 stones. So you take 6 stone, and that's what you're trying. One of the things you're trying to work out on this rondelle. The other thing you're trying to work out is, do I want to take one of these actions? And that can make or break your game, can it? I mean, because this card here, just for instance, you can pay $1 and do a build action. Well, a build action is one of your main actions. You can do 3 things on your turn, 1 of 3 things. And it's on your, I'm going to dump this, but it's on your player board, A, B, and C. And it tells you in illustration what you can do with those 3 actions. And you have to choose one of them. Well, if the market action is what you've chosen and you're moving these die, then you're interested in these influence cards. And this one here, for $1, you can do a build. Well, a build is one of the actions. Now, and if you do your build action, you don't get to do the market action. So you're like, oh, wait a minute, I want to do the market action and build. So you're trying to look for a die that's going to end up in this quadrant with this card, so you can pay $1 and do a build action at the same time. So you're trying to do those kinds of things. And also, and I've used this a couple times, but in the last game, and Lori won this game, by the way. So I was really trying to catch up. I was like 26 points behind at one time. And but for $2, you can move. If you hit that quadrant and you take your market action, get your resources, you can also spend $2 and change these tokens around. And at the end of the game, I needed a purple gem badly. And I got to this quadrant with one of the die values, and I was able to pay the $2, switch the green with the purple, and I was able to get the purple gems I needed to complete a card and at least get a little close. She ended up beating me by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 points when she was ahead by 26. So that was, I felt good about my game. So yeah, this rondelle is so much fun to work because of that. In addition to those things I've just told you, it matters what color this die is, because once you're building on your player board, you're taking these workshop tokens off of here and you're placing them on your player board, so if you happen to use that color die, you get that little boost, that little bonus. And that's pretty cool. And you have to be thinking about all those workshop tiles you have on your board and what you need to make your thing happen so that you can do the building of the cathedral. So working this rondelle is a blast, and it takes some time to get good at it. I'm always flabbergasted by things I read on BGG and people talking about a game like Red Cathedral. And I can tell by the way they're criticizing this game that they didn't bother to learn how intricate the system, rondelle system, is in this little game. And so I just want to reach out to them and say, hey, let me tell you where you're wrong. And this game, because of this rondelle, is just so much fun to play. And then you got that engine builder going on your player board where you're trying to get workshop tiles to fill in these spaces. So you're trying to combo all of that together at the same time, and it's just fun and thought-provoking to be able to do that. And then you have all these little decorations that you can also put on the cathedral, because you're going to score these cathedral towers, and the person that has the most points on those towers, and that's your game banners, your player color banners, and any decorations that you've managed to put out during the game also. So you're watching how this thing's unfolding. For instance, Lori had finished 2 of the sections of the cathedral. I had finished 1, so she's ahead of me. So I managed to get out a decoration of a window and a decoration of a spire or something, but it's like this thing that's like
cathedral topper.
Cathedral topper, yeah, it goes right at the top of the cathedral. And I managed to eke out the points. I had 3, it was 3-2. So then I scored the most points. You get first place points and second place points, but I managed to get first place points out of that. And so you're thinking about that also, watching how this unfolds. And then the thing that won Lori the game is a little bit of player interaction in this game. Okay, so if you manage to complete one of these cathedral pieces or cathedral sections above an opponent that is still working on his reserved section of that cathedral, they're going to lose the points that are on that card you just completed. And that is huge, and you better pay attention. She did it to me twice because she's mean. And she's a mean person, and she'll do anything. She's cutthroat. She'll do anything to win, and so she did that to me twice, and that's what won the game for her. But yeah, such a cool game, and that's a cool mechanism. And if you say, well, oh, that's awful mean, well, just don't let it happen to you. Don't be dumb like me. Don't be a dope. So I should have been paying attention and not had that happen to me. But it's such a fun game, you guys, and that's just one of the many reasons that this game should be considered by you. I have nothing to do with the beer games. You know, I have nothing to do with anybody or anything in the board gaming industry. I just wanted to tell you about these 2 games because, you know, just as an example, they're trying to push, you know, the board game powerhouse videos, right? They're trying to push Everdell Silverfrost down your throat right now because it's new. Hey, yeah, this is the best Everdell ever. Well, if you already have OG Everdell, the original, you're fine. You do not need, what's the one we have? Farshore. You do not need Silverfrost. But boy, they're going to capitalize on the wingspan, worm span, fin span, car span, doctor span, you know, whatever they can get and milk that cow until it's dry and dead. And that's what they're doing with Everdell. And it makes me a little bit, not upset, but it makes me want to make a video and tell you don't fall for that. If you've got one of the other Everdells, you do not need to go out and buy Everdell Silverfrost. I'm sorry. There's other games that do what it's doing better. And again, what I'd like to give you for advice is don't always look forward. Don't always look at the new games. If you're putting together a board game library, look into the past. Type in on YouTube videos for top 10 games starting in 2001, 2, 3, 4, just go through the years and look at those older games, because you can get them far cheaper in the secondhand market than you would be to pay up front for Everdell Silverfrost.
And these are both still available, aren't they? Like
Yes,
the game nerds
I just
and
looked
stuff?
it up. So before I started these videos, I looked it up, and at Miniature Market and Card House, this is $27.99 and this is $35.99. Hey, relatively inexpensive. Not to mention, if you can find somebody selling these games, you'll probably get them infinitely cheaper than that. Because there's a lot of people that play board games and make snap judgments about them. White Castle and Red Cathedral, both games, I think you need to play them 5 times.
I agree.
Just because, not the level of complexity, but the amount of combos that you can put together in those games, it takes you a while to learn the value of what you're doing. And for, you know, let's see, this would be 28, this would be 36. You add them both together, and what's that? I don't know, what's my...
54.
$54. That's cheaper than you can go out and buy Everdell.
64. I can't add.
Oh, 64. Well, that's why we're senior citizens.
Yeah.
But it's still inexpensive. And it's so, I don't know, sometimes I just wince at the amount of videos on YouTube that push new board games constantly. And I realize they're getting paid to do so. So I'm just going to be the antithesis of them. I'm going to tell you to look into the past when you're getting board games, when you're trying to acquire good board games for your library. There's people out there that have an abundance of board games they don't need. They're going to sell them off or whatever, and that's when you want to pounce, you know, because you can get them at a fraction of the cost. And I'm the only one on YouTube that's going to tell you to do that, because I don't care. I'm not making any money off, you know, I'm not Rod or Tom Vassell. I'm not making a living in the board gaming industry. I'm simply making videos about great board games. And so I want to share that with you. You can rest assured that both of these games right here are worth your dollars, and the publishing in them is fantastic. I mean, the components, aren't they? I mean,
Red
just
Cathedral isn't too bad, but White Castle you can't even get in the box.
yeah, you can barely get White Castle stuff back in the
I
box.
mean, Red Cathedral's
There's
tight,
a
but
little
White
bit of room
Castle's
in there.
really hard.
But all the components are just wonderfully produced.
They are. They're not cubes, they're shapes. You know, you don't have to buy,
Yeah.
I don't have to go out and buy extra stuff because they're already what I would purchase to upgrade them.
And Lori and I can play this game, and again, in White Castle both, and it's a completely different game every time you play it, and we just have the best time doing it. And I wanted to be able to share that with you guys today. You're going to enjoy these games. I guarantee it. You have my, you know, my personal stamped guarantee that both these games are fabulous from Lori and I, and we play them and play them and play them, and we enjoy them so much. We're going to keep these games for a number of reasons, one of which is this box size, which is a lot of giant game into a tiny box. It's one of the best examples of that particular genre out there, tiny games that play big, and these are 2 of them. Hey, that's it for today. I wanted to tell you about the games we've been playing. Biscuits and Gravy were here for the video, and they're very excited about these games, both of them. You can't hardly hold them down, they're so excited. But yeah, I love every one of you. I'm glad that you're a hobby board gamer, and that term hopefully means that you really pay attention and do your research before you go out and purchase board games. But these are 2 that if you look into the past, you can get for a great value in so many categories. You know, the publishing, the game design, first of all, is fantastic, and the publishing is wonderful. They're wonderful to look at on the table. They're just fun to play. And what's up?
Also, those player boards turn over.
Oh yeah, so we play it on the
Advanced
side.
Yeah.
It does have a beginner side. It's a little easier, but I think it has to do with putting out the ornaments, doesn't it, or the decorations?
The decorations are already on the board when you start.
Oh,
you don't
yeah.
have to gain them, and it costs a little more to place the, or more or less, depending on where you put them.
Place the workshop tiles?
Yeah.
Okay.
On the other side, they're all $3. On this side, they each have a price.
Okay. Everything else is... One thing I didn't mention is the scoring on this rondelle board. And someone actually posted on BGG, I was reading their comment, they just didn't like that double point scoring system, they didn't get it. Well, here's the thing. It has regular points, which of course go in order 1 through 79, and then it has prestige points. The first prestige point is on the 5-point marker on the track. So if you get 1 prestige point, you're going to move to 5 rather than on 1. So if you can manage to get prestige points during this game, you're going to move farther. And the prestige point values shrink as you get further down the track. But let me tell you something, you can catch up. Like Lori was way ahead of me, and I was able to jump to get prestige points, and you get that by putting these gems out on these building cards. You get prestige points for doing so. And on your player board, it tells you exactly the prestige points you get. If you put a green out or a purple, you get 1 prestige point. If you manage to do 2 in 1 turn, you get 3 prestige points. Well, if you're on number 9 point space on this board, you're going to go 2 spots, which is to the 3 and to the 4.
Keep going. You get 3.
You get 3? Oh
yeah.
My gosh. You go up to the 5th. You go from 9 to 19 points just by putting out those 2 gems. That is crazy cool. And so if you're behind, you're thinking, oh my gosh, can I manage to get some prestige points and weave that into the strategy of what I'm doing as far as building? Oh, so much in this game is beautiful. I'm big fans of these 2 designers. I think these games are fantastic. Obviously, I've said it a number of times, but hey, I love every one of you. Keep on board gaming. It's the best doggone hobby on the planet, and I'll see you the next time here on The Bonus Collector. Please like and subscribe. Bye-bye.